Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we would be doing the demo for the SMART Jamaat app. Same exact app is available for you for the iPhones as well as all the Android phones. And you would need to install get the app from the app stores and then install it on the phone that you would want to make the reservations. Now, Smart Jamaat consists of two components, the platform itself. So the admin portal the component is basically for the masjids to be able to configure all the salah operations and then set up all the masjid parameters for the apps and so everything. All the data would be reflected back directly into the app, Smart Jamaat app, in real time. Now, the app is intended for the Masjid attendees or the Musallis to be able to actually register themselves and then make all the Salah reservations and all the Masjid other app activities that needs to be performed that they can do on the app side. So when we download the app, so basically you need to go to one of the app stores, your respective app stores, download the Smart Jamaat app. Now, for the attendee perspective, there is one-time registration that is required when the registration is done. So essentially, all the notification systems and everything is tied to your email address. So please enter the email address that you actually have access to, because there is a two-factor authentication. So it sends you a code for registration wise. Also, the entire system is set up with all the notifications that will be sending to that particular email. So ensure that you enter an email that is you have an actually access to. Now, there is a two components here. There is already registered or the new registration. In this case, we will be doing the new registration. Now, in the future, let's say the phone is uninstalled or you change a phone. Now, you do not have to re-register the entire registration perspective. All it is the phone number is the key. You can come in, enter the phone number in the top part and then I'm already registered. And when you actually verify yourself, it will tie back into all the registration system that already exists, all your reservations and everything would come back onto those ones in. So in this particular example, we are doing the new registration. So like I said, there's a name and there's an email and then there's a phone number that we need to enter those ones in. That's the only data that also you would enter only the first time when you are actually making the registration. Now, in addition to that one, we have what we call a home masjid concept, because the idea is that Smart Jamaat perspective wise, the app can be used to make reservations at any masjid that is adapted into the Smart Jamaat system. For example, you go to the one specific masjid, like your majority of the wise that you will go to one masjid, but at the work on Friday, let's say you are near the work, so you need to go to the masjid over there to pray those ones in. You could actually use the same app to make the reservations because it is one app for any masjid that is adapted into the system, either in the same city or in the same country, let's say in US or even in Canada, or for that matter, any masjid that is adapted into the system anywhere in the world kind of the one. Now, obviously, for the geographically, we would make the reservations where we would need to go to. In order for the convenience, what we would decide is that what is going to be your home masjid that you would want to. I'm going to select the Smart Masjid, which is our test masjid to be able to, for this demo purposes one. I go click the registration, and then once the registration is done, it'll ask for the verification code that'll be sent to the email. And I'm going to enter that information. And when I submit, so my registration is done. Now, once I make the registration, this is the only time I enter the data. Next time when I'm going to close the app, and then in fact, I fully close the app. And then if I go back and then actually open the app, now it automatically opens into my account on this particular app. Now that's the way so that we don't have to re-enter the information. Now, but all your profile data is actually available to you at any point of the time. So the top right corner where you see the QR code icon, if you click on that one, this is your profile information. When you registered, you automatically will be assigned a unique QR code for you that can be accessed anytime from this particular profile page. There is also an email sent to the once the registration is done. So you would have actually received an email that would have actually had the same QR code and the details of your registration. So that is as a backup, you can always have those one to be able to access that one also from your system. Now, like I mentioned, the phone number becomes your key because your registration and all the details and all the account is tied with your phone number. But at any point of the time, you can change your name, or if there are any mistakes done, or your email, just in case if you are updating to another new email, or in the case that you move to a new area and you want to change your home masjid, you will be able to come to the profile and then change your home masjid and those ones. All right. Now going back to every time when you open up, this is your starting home page, and that is the one for the Smart Jamaat app. You would land into this page every time you actually come into the system. There are three components other than the profile on this particular one. One is the Masjid app itself. That is where we would go to do all the operations against the masjid to be able to do those ones in. The other two I would explain. So this is for the switch a masjid. The switch a masjid is basically, like I was explaining, if you want to do a specific salah reservations for a specific salah at a different masjid than your home masjid, you would come, you will select that particular masjid. Now, if you see, now I selected Islamic Center of Kapel, and once I go into the app, now my reservations, all the aspects of that one would be at that particular masjid, not my home masjid kind of the one. So the idea of this one is that for you to be able to switch back to any masjid if you want to make this one in, but predominantly you will be doing it your home masjid. You just come in and click your masjid app button to go into that particular masjid, is those ones in. The other key component here is the my reservations. Now we just registered, so that way obviously there's no reservations that exist, but during this process we'll make the reservations, then I'll come back here and then show you what are the, it's basically a snapshot of all the reservations, but I'll show you how to edit and cancel from those ones in. So having said that, this is the base page. You have the Masjid app. That's where you need to go to change masjid, my reservations, and the profile. Everything is available for you into those ones in. Now what we will do is that we would actually go into the Masjid app itself. Now, once you come to this particular page, right now you are at a masjid level. So everything that you see, all the information, all the data, everything is set by your own masjid, and that masjid's data is what is reflected here in real time. Your salah table, or your donate button, or any of the messages, announcements, and everything, including all the salahs and the reservations that you would make, would be available to you for here. Now, there are two major systems wise. If you look at it, in the top section is your reservation system that has the reservations for regular salah, special salah, and the check-in process. And at the bottom tab is all your Masjid app functionality. In this particular case, how the Masjid app, all the announcements, and we will touch base and then go back and show you that part towards the end of this one. Now, primary purpose of this obviously is to make the reservations for all of those ones in. Now, there are two components in this one here also. There's a regular salahs and the special salahs, or the events. Regular salahs are all your 5 daily prayers along with prayers, because these are recursive. These happen every week, every day and every week. So that's why those are considered the regular salahs. Your special salahs are any of the like a Eid prayers, or any of the masjid events itself, like a halakha program or a banyan program, or even their fundraising that they would need to do, or any of the sisters get together, or any of those events that they would want to define. Masjid can create those events, and then we could be able to make the reservations against those ones in, so that way everything is counted for us to be provide a safe environment for us to pray or get together. So basically that's the intention of it. Now I'll briefly explain the salah table here. Now salah table basically has all your comprehensive information. Of course, the 5 salahs are 5 prayers, the azar time, and then the actual iqamah time at this masjid are explained, and those are the times that you would see reflected here. In addition to that one, if you see at the bottom, there are the Jumas that are listed. Masjid has an option to provide up to 5 Jumas that they can do the prayers at. So depending upon the masjid, however many Jumas salahs that they schedule is the information that would be showing in here. In this particular case, we have 3 Jumas that are scheduled, and then even the khatib's name masjid could provide, and then that would also have that information for you to choose which particular Juma that you would want to make the reservation against, kind of the one. So this is all dynamic, real time. It comes from the one. So for us not to do anything, we just come in, and that we know, look at the times, what time the salahs are, if we wanted to make it, have the time-based one to be able to make it. Now we're going to go through the process of actually reserving for a salah. Now, every masjid as you know, during the pandemic time, every masjid operates in a different way. Not every masjid has all the salas. Some masjids only have some salas open. Some masjids have only all daily prayers are open, not Jumas. Some masjids do not have daily prayers, but the Jumas are open, and so on. So it's a combination of the things. And masjid has a capability to be able to dynamically turn off, turn on the salas based on whatever their situations are going to be. In addition, what we would like to do is that help out the masjids to do lots of the pre-checking process right at the beginning, so that way when the people come to the masjid, they could actually be able to check in very fast, so that way we don't have to stand in the lines for long time on those ones. So what this is that every masjid has their own guidelines of how they would want to open up a salah or how a person needs to come in. Now, we are supposed to read those particular guidelines and then agree to those guidelines. So this is the way that masjid is providing. Please do those ones in, and so that way we wouldn't be able to, they don't have to stand there and tell you at that time kind of the one. Similarly, there is a COVID questionnaire that they could put in. And again, this would change from masjid to masjid, because masjids decide what information that they need to put here. Some people say, hey, if you are over 60 years, you cannot come to the namaz. So that's the one that you would want to see and then follow. If you don't agree to any of them, basically you would not be able to make the reservation. So our idea is that please be socially responsible and look through those ones in, and then say, yes, we do not have. So this is the way that I am safe to go to the salah. So that way it provides for all of our people. So that way we have the information that is available to them, and then we can actually provide the safe salahs kind of one. And then masjid also have a capability to do the disclaimer. And then so that is the disclaimer that they will be able to put in. So the idea here is that, now, first of all, I am explaining, so that's why it takes longer time. But for us to make the salahs, it's really very easy and then super fast to be able to do it. I will show it like one time once I'm done with the explanations on it. So once we come in, so now we say that we read our guidelines, our questionnaire and disclaimers, and then we're ready to make the reservation. So we click the reserve regular salah. Now, once you go to the one, now we need to see which date that you are going to make the salah reservations for. Masjid also has a capability to say how many days that they would want the reservations for. In generally, we recommend 7 days, so that it's a rolling 7 days. So that way it would include the Juma prayer. So that way we can make the reservations against it. In this case, it's today is 14th November. And if you see up to, it's open till 20th November, which means that it is opened up to 7 days is what their current salah reservation system is open for. You pick a date for which you need to make the salah, and then this is the actual reservations page. Now, today, I'm in the central time zone in Dallas, so that's where it's around 3:30 for me. Now, so the next possible salah for me to make the reservation, the next active salah is the Asr prayer. So the Asr prayer is listed as 4:15 p.m., which would be when the Iqama is, and that I can make the reservations for it. Now, if I go to tomorrow, obviously none of the prayers happen, so we can see all the 5 prayers for the tomorrow that will show up on those ones. So I'll show you multiple days that how we would make. So let me go back to the reservations for today. So what I would need to do is that we need to select the next active one for the check-in process. So I'm going to make a reservation here. Reservation is also very, very simple. The way to do it is that we have the 2 sections. The masjid has a capability to set a brothers capacity, number of the spots available for brothers, and the number of the spots available for the sisters. Blue indicates for brothers, pink indicates for sisters. There's actually an icon that explains like, what are the all the numbers that mean and what it could this one in, but I'm going to explain those ones in obviously in this case. So the blue one, if you look at those ones in, so it will actually show you now for the Asr prayer, it says 4:15 p.m. is the Salah time, Iqama time, and then there's a 2570 by 70 means that totally there are 70 spots available for brothers, out of which for 25 slots, the reservations are already made. Similarly, for sisters, the total set of masjid set the capacity at 30 and 18 reservations are made against that particular Asr Salah. Now, in order for us to make a reservation, it's very simple. Let's say I'm going to make saying that I want 2 brothers and then 1 sister spot for the reservations. You go click, put in the numbers and then click the reserve button. Your reservation is done. It's literally as simple as that. Now, whenever you make the reservation, so it will turn into the one. You can also, just in case if your plans change, and also you can cancel. So that's why it'll turn to a cancel button for you to be able to cancel the reservation. But remember the my reservations, there is another way that you don't have to come all the way here to cancel a reservation. So we'll show you how you can do that from the my reservation snapshot system also. Similarly, let's say I'm going to go make a reservations for one brother and one sister for the Isha today, and then I'm going to make that reservation. So, and that reservation is done. Essentially what I did is that I made a reservation for Asr, and then I made a reservation for Isha today in the Smart Masjid one. If you look at the top, it'll give you all the, at any point of the time, you have all the information necessary where you are and what masjid you are in. It's the Smart Admin is the name, Smart Masjid is the masjid, and that particular day, these are the salas that you are going to make the reservations for. Similarly, I'm going to go, let's say for tomorrow, and then I'm going to go make the Fajr reservation. So I'm just going to go, okay, there's the, again, same thing. So I'm just going to say, hey, I want to make a reservation for Fajr today. And then let's say I want to make a reservation for one brother, two sisters, for one brother, two sisters for the Maghrib tomorrow. And it's literally as simple. So we made kind of a 4 reservations for those. Similarly, you will keep going and then do all the reservations for any day that you would want to. Now, Friday is obviously different. So that way I'm going to show you Friday. Now in Friday, there's no Zohar prayer. So all the Jumas would be the other prayers that would come in. Now, remember, we scheduled this particular masjid is set up with having the 3 Jumas, and that's the 3 Jumas times is the one. So there's a one at 1 o'clock, another at 2 o'clock, third one is at 3 o'clock. So we would be able to make the reservations for any of the ones because their slots are open, timing is open, so on. So I'm going to make the reservations for Juma 1 with the 2 brothers and like, let's say like the 2 sisters kind of the one. And then I'll click the reservation and the reservation is made. Now, when you make the reservations, see what happened here is that there was Juma 1, Juma 2, Juma 3. But since I made the reservation for Juma 1, we want to be socially responsible for the people to make reservations to the only the prayers that they are really going in. So we don't just grab the spots from the other systems, right? Since you already make the reservation for Juma, Juma 2, Juma 3 are actually grayed out for you because you hold a Juma reservation now. Now, this applies actually not only this particular masjid. In fact, once you make the Juma reservation, now you, any masjid in the one that you can switch to another masjid and you try to make a Juma reservation over there, you would automatically gray out for you because this is a centralized reservation system. And that's the beauty of it is that we want to be like, again, it all goes down to the social responsibility. We want the people to be aware of really kind of know where you would want to and then make the reservations over there. Again, plans will change, and that's why we provide a very easy way of canceling and making the reservations again. And then similarly, even you want to your plans change, you made the reservations for 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and sisters are not coming, you can go back and edit that and say, hey, only 2 brothers are coming, and then those sister spots would be released back into the system for those ones. And similarly, just like how making the reservation is so easy, now I just made a reservation for the Fajr just to see prove the point. And then to cancel, all you go do is if you are in the screen where you are registering, hey, that's not the namaz salah that I want to go to, you just press cancel and then the reservation is canceled. And those spots are actually released back into the system to be able to available for the other musallis to be able to make the reservations against it. So similarly, you will go ahead and keep making. So let's say I'm going to make the reservations for another Maghrib here. And one of the things I wanted to show you is the capacity. Now, I'm going to pick a high number here. So saying that 8 sisters are going to the namaz, come to the namaz. When I try to make a reservations, it will tell you that how many spots it could be, a maximum could be on a reservation system. Now, the masjid will determine for every reservation how many spots that you could register. Now, in this particular case, the masjid set it as 5. So you won't be able to book for a reservation more than 5 people coming in on those ones. So I'm going to go back and then make it to 2. So then now my reservation is done. So these are all the reservations that are done. Now, when you are in this page, you can actually on the top right corner, that is the Smart Jamaat Home button. If we press the Smart Jamaat Home button, now you are actually back into the main screen. Now, remember the My Reservations. Now we actually went and made multiple reservations onto those ones in. Now, all you would have to do is that at any point of the time, the idea is you come in, you make the reservations for this entire week. And if your plans change or something, then you come to the My Reservation. It will list you all your active salahs that are listed over there. Then now here, not only this is list for this particular masjid, but any other masjid. Let's say, for example, I'm going to switch to ICC Capel, and then what I would do is that today I would go make a reservations for today. And then I think, see, this is what happens. Now, because when we're making the reservations, I made the reservations for, first of all, Fajr and Zohar are basically, those are not, those salas are over, so they are not accessible. And then the Asr namaz and the Isha, that what it shows is that I already hold the reservation in the Smart Masjid for the Asr and Isha prayer. And hence it will be grayed out for me because of the central reservation system. You cannot make the per day per salah. You can only hold one reservation. That's the idea behind this one. So I'm going to go make the reservation for two brothers, let's say for the Maghrib at the ICC one. The reason why I was showing this one is that when I go back into my reservations, now you would actually see in the top, the first Asr Salah is in the Smart Masjid. It will list you what date and what masjid and what time and how many reservation spots that you would hold. So I have a Asr reservation in the Smart Masjid, but I made the Maghrib reservation in the Islamic Center of the Kaaba. This is my system. Like for attendee, they can make reservation in all the masjid. It will be a snapshot of all user reservations at one place for you to be able to do those ones. The additional thing that you can do is that, oh, I don't want to go to the Kapel, this one in that time my plans changed or whatever. You can come and then you can either edit the reservation or cancel the reservation. In this particular case, let's say I want to go cancel the one that I'm not going to be able to be in Kapel. So I'm canceling the reservation. You come, cancel, and that's as simple as that. It would literally take fraction of a seconds for you to come, either make the reservations or change the reservations or cancel the reservations. Now, what we will do is that we will go ahead and adjust the Juma prayer one. What I will do is that for the Juma, I'm going to go say, hey, I made the reservations for two brothers and two sisters. One of my daughters is not coming in, so I want to reduce my number to, instead of two sisters, one sister only. And then you can edit it and you can submit. It says, do you want to change the numbers? Yes. And then that reservation. Now you adjusted your capacity from two brothers and two sisters to two brothers and one sister. So that additional sister's spot is released back into the reservation system immediately. So that way some other sister can actually make the reservation to be able to go to the namaz for those ones. So all we would request is that all the facilities provided for you, be a little proactive and then making the reservations, be staying on top of that one, so that way we will be able to go. Masjids can provide a safe environment for us, and we can be sure of that we are safe to be able to go to the masjids to pray the namazs and so on. Now, just to show those ones in, so we hold a reservation. So I'm going to show you the check-in process now. Saturday, November 14th for the Asr, which is at 4:15 p.m. at the Smart Masjid, is the next active Salah that would be there. Now I'm going to go into my masjid. Now, because I am going to check into the masjid on the mobile. Now I have to go to where my reservation is. Now, the idea of this one is that you can only check into the next active Salah. In other words, right now, like I said, I'm in the Dallas area, which is the central time zone. Now my time is around 3:40 p.m. My next Salah is 4:15 p.m. I happen to hold the reservation. If I don't hold the reservation, it'll tell me you don't have a reservation for this masjid for that particular Salah. So now I'm going to do is that all I got to do is that press the check-in. Now, the idea is that you would be able to make the reservations like a week ahead or however long that masjids can open it up. At that time, you probably might not have some of the symptoms that are listed, but now you might when you are actually coming to the namaz. So that is the reason why we have the same guidelines and questionnaire that you would have to accept again for the check-in. Because the idea behind this one is that when you made the reservation, you might not have felt the symptoms. If you feel the symptoms now, we please want you to go back. Like ideal thing to do would be not just the check-in, you would actually go cancel your reservation. So that way somebody else would be able to get to that reservation. Assuming everything is, by Allah's grace, everything is good, I'm going to go check into the my Salah, those ones say. Now, all it would do is that once the Salah is done, so it would come back and then say that this my Salah is actually registered on those ones. So when I do the check-in, so now I have the actual check-in spot that actually shows up. And when you try to go, there is a slight delay for the image to show up. And then let me see. So it's going in, so checking in, right? Okay. So the masjid, so the check-in pass is it actually shows up on my screen. So there's a slight delay in the displaying onto the Teams where I'm recording this. Let me just give it a second for it to show up. This is not on the screen. This is actually into the, well, I'm going to go back and then come back in. So that way, let's see if it shows up on there. So those ones in. So the check-in pass. Okay, while we're talking, it will show. So the check-in pass is basically, this is the one that will show up with the QR code on those ones in. And the QR code is the one that the masjid, when they are scanning the one, so they would be able to scan this particular one to be able to provide that information and so on. This is weird. Okay, so here you go. I'm sorry for that. All right. So what happens is that on the screen, I see this one. It just didn't show up in the Teams where my recording is being done on those ones. All right. So when you actually make the reservations, it says that you have successfully checked in. So there is a QR code that shows up, and then it will also tell you which masjid you hold. So this is at the Smart Masjid for the Asr prayer, 4:15 p.m. Totally I reserved 3 spots on those ones. So what you would, the idea wise is that you would actually hold this one. You will go to the masjid, and the masjid admins, people would be volunteers or the admins, they will be scanning the reservations to let the people in. This is the check-in pass. It's just like an airline boarding pass that you would show, this pass to be able to go into those ones. Now, just in case either you close the app, let's say I went back to the main one, so I'm at the main screen, let's say, again, no problem. So you could actually, there are 2 ways that you could still go. One is if you open up your profile, you have a unique QR code. Now, the system is set up because it is a unique QR code assigned to you. The masjid can actually, when they scan your QR code, they will be automatically be able to pull up the reservations that are associated with that masjid. On the other hand, you can go back into the masjid one, and then you can go to the check-in screen. And if you click that one again, it will actually show up that you have already checked in, but this is how you will access your check-in pass, kind of the one. So that will finish our masjid reservations part of it. So what happens is that when we are in this masjid, now we went and made the reservations and so on. Now what I want to do is that, because I was explaining it, is there is a lag of every page that I was holding on for them to be able to see. I want to show you how easy it is to make the reservations. You come in, and then basically I'm going to start from the outside, right? You open up the app, you are in this one, you go to the masjid app, you went into the one, and then you say, I'm going to click the reserve my salah, and then I'm going to accept my guidelines. I'm going to pick a date, like let's say day after tomorrow or 16th. I'm going to go make a reservation on this one in, and I'm done. So the idea behind this one is that we make it so easy for you to be able to do. Even if on a Saturday you decide that I'm going to make for the entire next week, I'm going to go make the reservations, within a minute or two, you will be able to set all the reservations that you would need to. You can finish that process and then come out on those ones. So that kind of finishes our entire reservation system module, how the masjid would do those ones in. And quickly, I'm going to show you the masjid app functionality also while we're in it. Now, again, between one masjid to the other masjid, if you change the masjid to go to another masjid, when you come in, now you would see the iqama times would be different. The process wise, if you go into their guidelines would be different, because they could have a different set of the guidelines for those ones in. So everything changes based on the what masjid that you are logging into, because masjids would set their parameters. We're just going to make the salas in that particular reservation on those ones. So like said, so the reservations you are done for the regular salah, those are the top buttons. At the bottom buttons is where your masjid app functionality. You know how we have like different masjids have their own individual apps. We need to download those apps for their salah times and everything. You don't need to do that anymore, because you actually have every masjid that is configured into our system by default automatically comes with the full custom masjid app for them. So that way they'll be able to set up everything that they need to go on those ones. So the masjid home obviously will get you to, this is the masjid home one. If I'm going to go through the buttons in one way, and the buttons wise is the donate button. Of course, masjid has whatever is the donate screen that they would use. So that is the donate one that they are going to go to. And from there, like, if you click to the one, it will take you to their donate site, kind of the one on those ones. I'm not going to go to the donate page per se. Now, the messages is where you actually will have all your events will be listed out, all your announcement and all your service set listed out. Now, in this particular case, see if I go into the events, now events is a little bit different because events are, remember special salas and the events are the ones masjid would set up and you could actually go to make the reservations against it. So here it's not only a list, but you also have a reservations button that you could go to those ones in. For example, there is a fundraiser that is set up for 20th November and then there is a halakha for 21st November, right? If I want to make the reservations, I can click for those ones in, it goes to the reserve special salah. You go into the one, I can click whichever the fundraiser or the halakha or the tarawih, these are the all the special events this masjid has listed. I can actually go pick up the halakha and then say, hey, I want to make a reservation here, and then I can actually make the reservation for that particular halakha. So the idea is that you not only be able to see the reservation announcement just like any regular Masjid app do, but Smart Jamaat is actually an integrated reservation system. Not only you see the announcement, but you could actually make the reservations for that particular events also. Similarly, other parts is the announcement. You would list out all the announcements that are there the masjid has. At any point of the time, if they have a new announcement, it's automatically reflected back into the system. In addition to that, there is a URL that they can provide for the details of that one to be able to go on those ones in. So similarly, there is services. Masjid can provide their services. And then they also have their media button would list you all the masjid broadcast facilities and so on. Their live broadcast of the Jummah prayers are so on their either via the YouTube or via the, this particular one takes you to the YouTube one for this particular masjid. But any point of the one that you would have would be your, the whatever is the masjid's current their social media platforms is what are listed over here to be able to do those ones. Their Facebook account, their YouTube, and then the live broadcast could be either Facebook or the YouTube live, whichever one that they would use. And their Twitter account, if they have a WhatsApp group that you would need to join, so they would be able to list, similar to those that Instagram kind of the one. Now, this more button actually gives you all the facility in one spot for you to be able to access any of the Masjid app facilities. The Change Masjid profile and my reservations on the top are at the Smart Jamaat level, so that way you can switch the masjid from one masjid to another and directly access your profile or access your my reservations. The other parts here is that we just saw donate one, and then the messages have the messages part, and then media has all your media parts of it. In addition to that, there is a salah table that they have that they can display the salah table, masjid salah table that is over there. It's displayed on my phone. Again, it's taking a little longer time to display it on the for the recording purposes. It should come, let me see, okay. I'm gonna go back here and then click the salah table again. Okay, so that's the salah table that you would be able to see that way. And then when I go into the contacts, again, the masjid contact information is also masjid's details. What's the address, what's the information of those ones in is also available. Again, the idea of the bottom ones are for the masjid app functionality that is in addition to your entire reservation systems that you could do. Now, in one way, basically, that is how you would come to a masjid, you would pick by default your home masjid would be there, and then you would be able to make all the reservations that you would want to at any point of the time. Just come in, go into your reservation schedules, and then pick whatever is the one. If you need to change or anything, you have all that information into your this one in. Again, remember guys, we would want to be socially responsible, so make the reservations that you would need to. It's very easy to either make new reservations or edit the reservations or cancel the reservations if you are not going to make it. Do understand, if we hold the spots, if we release it, some other brothers or sisters, they would be able to, inshallah, make the reservations against those and then go pray those at those masjid. So thank you again for spending time to go through the demo for the Masjid app. Feel free to call us, smartjamaat.com. We have all the contact information over there. Any questions or anything or any of those ones in, please feel for us to please feel to contact us, and we are available 24/7 operational support for Smart Jamaat. We should be able to take care of any issues or any concerns that you have. Again, Jazakallah khair for watching the demo. Thank you so much, and Assalamu alaikum.